Hello there, kia ora. In media theory, we have a term for when mainstream media pick and choose what gets platformed and what gets prominence within their platforms in an effort to get eyes on pages, increase clicks, or seem relevant. And Saturday gave us the perfect example of this. The term is called agenda setting. It's when media use their power to control a narrative in the wider public by choosing what they platform and what news they give priority to. Generally, the rule of thumb is that they'll pick one that causes the most conflict, because on social media, your engagement is sold to advertisers as a reason that they should sell their houses and furniture in that particular media outlet. And on Saturday, we saw multiple central Auckland protests. One was a protest against the other, but based on a kaupapa of aroha and solidarity. Marching from Britomart up Queen Street, it incorporated a range of topics, because you may have noticed the world feels like we're in the worst possible timeline and everything seems kinda shitty. This was a protest to show people that while things seem shitty, there is solidarity and aroha out there, and supporting each other is an amazing way to remind people that they're not alone and things can get better. One of the other protests was from perpetual victim Brian Tamaki and his True Patriots group, a bunch of racists who are again trying to import cultural war bullshit and vilify migrants so Brian can get the latest Tesla. It's been a year since he last made headlines for one of his arm's-length groups that he supported and ordered to do shitty things to pretend to be US culture war soldiers, so he needed it to happen again. Only it didn't. He claimed 5,000 people attended. It was closer to 500, a third of the size of the Queen Street hikoi, and eventually Brian showed up and told his mob to stand down, that they wouldn't be crossing the bridge. And our media chose to focus on the man who claims to be a constant victim of being silenced. At every sermon, every post, every media appearance, every stunt like this, he is apparently being silenced because the right are always the victim of cancel culture, and not because he's been trying the same tired grift for decades and the vast majority of people in this country find his action and words inconsistent, at the very least, abhorrent at most, and they have nothing that they want to do with him. Yet, most of our mainstream media coverage of the protests led with Brian's group, because if any group had shown a propensity for violence, it was the one who raided a library and threatened children over drag queens reading books and promised to storm the motorway and cross the bridge no matter what. It was the one that garnered the most police, because 500 morons running onto the motorway is a really dumb thing to do. Even when talking about the event on Queen Street, some media still framed it explicitly around Brian Tamaki. Our media clearly set an agenda here. The protest you needed to know about was the one from a bunch of hard-right nationalists telling you everything is bad and to blame migrants, not the one telling you things might feel shitty, but together we can overcome this. The media gave weight to Tamaki's group, which included this guy, Kyle Chapman. Chapman was security for the totally not racist "Why Would You Think That" Stop Co-Governance tour that Julian Batchelor held. The same Julian Batchelor currently in court trying to claim calling him racist on TV was defamation, and his defense is being paid for by the Canadian billionaire who also paid Chantal Baker at the height of the COVID response and now owns the Herald. Oh, and he's a confirmed Nazi. Chapman, that is. He's founded a number of neo-Nazi white supremacist groups over the years. He pled guilty to owning illegal semi-automatic firearms, breaking COVID lockdown rules. The Race Relations Commissioner, not the current one, a previous one, not the one who was actively trying to get white supremacist speaking gigs like the current one, called him despicable, and he's been convicted of firebombing Marae. He was in town for the event. This group that claims migrants bad, siding with Nazis and white supremacists, and led by a hate preacher that complains they don't get enough attention, was the one media chose to give attention to and focus on during the morning of protests in hikoi. And in doing so, they set an agenda for the audience that this small protest that was 1% of the size promised, that wasn't even the biggest action movement in the Auckland CBD at the time, was the one that people should be paying attention to. A message of division that gets clicks instead of a message of solidarity in the face of the kind of hate that targets migrants, the rainbow community, and grifts from the poor. Agenda setting is a powerful tool, and the best way that we can combat it is to diversify where we get our information from. Find content creators and media outlets that don't always follow media narratives, learn about framing and perspectives in media, seek out underreported news stories. By understanding that media is telling us what to think about rather than just what to think, you can consciously resist having your priorities dictated to you by editorial decisions. Oh, hey there, podcast listeners. Thanks for checking out today's podcast. Whether that's on video or audio, I really appreciate it. And I did finally get around to doing a podcast end tag, which I've been meaning to do for a while instead of just taking you onto the Facebook version. So while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button so that you can get updates coming in directly every time there's a new episode uploaded. Just seems like a really simple way to keep up to date with all of the crazy that's going on. So yeah, give that a shot, and I'll talk to you soon.